Friday to you. It is April 9th and time for this week's Friday Funnies. On behalf of myself and Eddie, let me just say that baseball is back, baby. Major League Baseball kicked off in a big way this week, and the overpaid, steroid-ridden boys of summer are back again to play a kids' game. And we're going to shell out big bucks just to watch them. I think this is very wrong. I think fans ought to be paid for actually coming down to the ballpark and enjoying warm $8 beers and artery-clogging hot dogs and a souvenir that comes with a mortgage. I think that baseball players ought to pay to collect fan cards and that they should be paying us for our autographs. Of course, this is all just fantasy, and the Friday Funnies are rooted in reality, no matter how idealistic that may seem. Here then are this week's Friday Funnies. First stop is Maine. I have decided I'm going to vacation in Maine this year. I'm going up there for the sights and the scenery. And by sights and scenery, I'm referring to the fact that it is perfectly legal for women in Maine to walk around topless. 24 women this week took off their tops and marched around downtown Portland to promote equal opportunity toplessness. If men can get away without wearing a shirt, so can women. And they had the high beams of their lighthouses on just to prove their point. So, if you like the lobster, but don't like the bibs, Maine is the place for you. Airlines are coming to us all the time saying, oh, it costs so much for fuel. Well, we're going to the airlines all the time saying, hey, it costs so much for airlines. Every time they need more money, they just put another add-on fee to the passenger. You know, first it started out they were charging us for headphones, and they were charging us for food. Then there's a fee for a blanket and a pillow. And this week Spirit Air started charging for carry-on bags. Now, not to be outdone, the discount European carrier Ryanair announced this week that they are seriously considering a toilet tax. That's right, a fee to use the bathroom on board the airplane. And when asked how they ever thought they could make any money with this, a Ryanair spokesman said, oh, we're going to be giving away free beer. And now, it is time for a Friday Funnies exclusive, something we like to call News from Around the World. This week, the important stories around the world all revolve around somebody putting something where it doesn't belong. Our first stop is Gujarat, Pakistan. Gujarat, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyhow, a Pakistani doctor, was suspended from his job at the hospital there for using an ambulance to transport a cow. Cow wasn't sick or anything. The guy had just purchased the cow from a local market, and he decided to use the ambulance to take it home. That was very illegal. He was charged with tying a Guernsey onto a gurney. Hey, they're not all winners, folks. These are just the news. I report, you decide. All right, our next stop on the Funnies is Liverpool, England. In Liverpool, 2 women were arrested this week, charged with trying to smuggle a 91-year-old man on board an airplane. They said the man was a relative of theirs, but the man was also dead. So what they did was they set him in a wheelchair, they put a hat on him and some sunglasses, and they tried wheeling him down the aisle. And they almost got away with it, except they suspected something was going on when they saw him stuffing the deceased in the overhead compartment. Because, of course, they hadn't paid the fee to use the overhead compartment. And our last stop this week is Aachen, Germany. In Aachen, a meat supplier became outraged when he made a delivery to a local restaurant, delivered all the meat, and was then told the restaurant didn't have the money to pay their bill. Well, he was incensed, and he's yelling at the restaurant owner, took all the meat he just delivered and put it back into his truck. That wasn't enough to cover the whole bill, so he went into the kitchen, started picking up the meat, even the stuff they started cooking, and putting that into his truck. That still wasn't enough. The guy went out into the dining area of the restaurant and started picking meat up off of diners' plates, going, "No steak for you! No steak for you!" The restaurant patrons were rather shocked, and the restaurant apologized and asked just for their patience. They said very, very shortly they expected another delivery of beef. It was coming from Pakistan in an ambulance. Hey, that's all I have for you this week. Remember, if you go to the ballpark this week, just remember that when Beethoven went to the ball game, he used to sit in box seats. I'll see you next week.